Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Now in Massachusetts, you can get your standard driver's license regardless of immigration status. Gather all required documents: proof of identity and date of birth, proof of Massachusetts residency, and proof of Social Security status. Next, register at mass.gov/myrmv for your learner's permit. When you pass, schedule your road test at mass.gov/myrmv and prepare at mass.gov/roadtest. Register today.
Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Thursday, July 27th, 2023, and it is Thankful Thursday. I am thankful for each of you that are in the room with us this morning. Do me a favor and hit that share button. We have some very important information, some very special guests. All my guests are special, but we have some very special guests with us this morning from that commercial that you've been seeing for the past couple of weeks through the Workforce Mobility Act. And I am excited this morning. We have them for about the next 25, 30 minutes or so to talk with Colleen and Christelle about the Workforce Mobility Act and what it brings to those that can take advantage of the wonderful benefits. And so at this time, I would like to introduce Colleen and also Christelle, who are going to chat with us about the Workforce Mobility Act. I want to thank them for being here with us this morning at 9 a.m. Thursday sometimes is like a Friday in the summer, so I don't know if this is your summer Friday or not, but welcome to the Java Cafe. It is Thankful Thursday. We have that theme in here today, so I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and maybe end with one thing for which, and I see Colleen looking up, she know that was coming. Name one thing for which you are thankful. And so Colleen, since you looked so prepared, you go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Java Cafe.
Thank you so much, and good morning, Boston and the rest of Massachusetts who's listening. My name is Colleen Ogilvie. I am the Registrar of Motor Vehicles here at the Registry of Motor Vehicles, the place where you get your driver's license, renew your registration, and sometimes get your license suspended if you've had some driving issues.
I know nothing about that at all. Nothing.
So good morning. I'm happy to be here on Thankful Thursday. It's not my Friday. I'm working for the next 2 days this week, but I am very, very thankful to all of my employees and partners in state government for a successful implementation of the Work and Family Mobility Act on July 1st, and certainly very thankful also for our relationship with Crystal in the Driving Family Forward Coalition here in Massachusetts. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the correction. Working Families Mobility Act. I'm saying workforce. I was actually just with the Labor Secretary this week at an event, so that is still in my head. But I am honored to have our registrar here. And thank you for being honest about what the registry does, and then what sometimes we have to go do at the registry because maybe we haven't. So Crystal, good morning.
Good morning, Jimmy.
Welcome, Crystal. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role. Or well, actually, before we do that, end with something that for which you are thankful as well this morning.
Yeah, that sounds great. Good morning, Jimmy. Thank you so much again for welcoming us into the space.
Absolutely.
My name is Crystal Murieta Ruiz. I am part of the team at SEIU 32BJ. We're a labor union made up of workers that do maintenance, cleaning, work at the airport, do security work, largely Black and brown workforce across the state of Massachusetts. And I'm also part of the leadership team for the Driving Families Forward Coalition, made up of over 270 organizations that got together and worked on this bill that is now a law for the past 4 years, but more than 20 years in the making. And I am grateful that we are now celebrating almost a month of the
A
Work and
whole
Family
month.
Mobility Act. Yeah, almost a whole month of the law being effective and people applying for their driver's licenses.
Absolutely. Let's start with you in this part, Crystal. Tell us about the coalition and tell us why. You talked about a 20-year history. Tell us a little bit, give us a little background. Folks have been seeing the commercial for the last couple of weeks, and so I'm so glad that you're here to give some context to it. What is the result of the past 20 years, this month that this is now law? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so for the past 20 years, the community in Massachusetts, of course, being led by impacted folks, immigrant folks, and so many others that have included labor, like the organization I'm with, businesses, legal advocacy organizations, leaders, individuals themselves, folks that have been a part of their community for a long time. Law enforcement was there with us as well. Our legislative advocates as well at the State House, and so many, many more have been a part of this fight for over 20 years. And in the last 4 years, the bill was led by the Driving Families Forward Coalition, which is made up of, again, over 270 organizations, but led by the Brazilian Worker Center and 32BJ SCIU. And we were able to get this bill further than it had ever gotten in our first legislative session. If y'all know, the leg session in Massachusetts is 2 years. Right. So the first time that we introduced it, we got it out of committee. We were super excited, and it wasn't enough. So we came back again. We learned a lot from that first session, and we did it even better. We got out of committee. We overcame 2 votes, of course, because, we got to be down on the vote in the Senate as well as the House. Then we overcame a veto by the governor. We got all the votes that we needed to override that veto, and we won the law. We were really excited. This was June of last year. And about 6 days later, we learned that we were going to have to overcome an effort to try to take away this law at the ballot. But we won that again. And as of November of last year, we won twice, first at the State House, second at the ballot. And we're able to confirm, win, and keep this law that now we're excited to be celebrating and seeing newly eligible applicants apply for.
Absolutely. I can't help but comment about your excitement and just a little, as some of the young people may say, just a little petty in the fact that we overcame twice and sticking to it for 20 years and whatnot. And so we definitely have to celebrate that work. Registrar, and I want to pronounce it right. And I know you'll probably say I can call you Colleen, but I at least want to honor. Tell me how to properly pronounce your last name.
Ogilvy.
Oh, I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. So Registrar Ogilvy, what is the administration's commitment to ensuring, one, that folks are aware, and what is the administration's commitment to families' mobility to be able to work?
Sure. So the Healy Driscoll administration has been extremely supportive of all the efforts that have been taken to successfully implement this law. It's an important aspect of the economy. It's an important aspect for people to move about and live in life. Driver's license as a government ID, whether we like it or not, is required many times to pick up a prescription at a pharmacy. It's required to open a bank account. It's required in times to apply for a loan or a mortgage. And it's a really important document that people who are part of society and are working and contributing need to be successful.
I really appreciate that, because what you just highlighted, there are more benefits here than getting your license and legally being able to drive. It gives you the ability to simply pull out, I don't know if it's formally plastic anymore, but pull out identification to pick up your prescription, to apply for a mortgage. And so, Crystal, let me come back to you and ask, why was there, not so much why there's so much resistance, but how did you overcome the resistance, either with information? Maybe there was some misinformation being put out there about the benefits of this and what it would do. What is it actually doing?
Yeah, so there was definitely a lot of fake news that was being put out by people that opposed this benefit. But we were able to overcome that. Well, obviously, there was more people that were in support of this, more people that believe in the dignity and quality of life of everyone in the state of Massachusetts. And we're very grateful for that as we're celebrating this Thankful Thursday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but folks are excited, right? That this is an opportunity. Again, 20 years in the making. People want to be able to follow the law. People want to be able to take their kids to extracurricular activities. We had a member in the coalition that had shared, my daughter's been wanting to be a cheerleader, and I can't support her in doing that because I can't drive her to and from practices. So, really simple things that those of us that may already be eligible for driver's licenses take for granted, and that are really going to make a big difference in the lives of so many people across the state of Massachusetts, and not just people that are eligible for the driver's license, but everyone that's on the road, because we're going to know now that more people are going to be tested, licensed, and insured, right? So we're really excited about being able to roll this out alongside the registrar, who we've been meeting with since November, trying to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row, that we're creating a process that is the most accessible to as many people as possible, that we're covering all of the top 15 languages that are being spoken across Massachusetts. And of course, all of this work is being done in support of the Healy administration, who has been great to work alongside with as well.
Definitely.
And the Attorney General's office too, actually, that is working.
I was getting ready to say shout out to our governor and our lieutenant governor, Kim Driscoll. And then you just mentioned my friend, attorney Andrea Campbell as well. One quick question, because when you say eligible, for those that aren't familiar with the eligibility and why, can you put in layman's terms, who is eligible? Give us some bullets, some names, those that are bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, so, and the registrar can back me up on this, but this makes it so that immigration status is not a barrier for people that are applying for driver's licenses now. So if you do not have a legal status within the state of Massachusetts, within the country, the United States, you are eligible for a driver's license. And what people are going to be required to bring with them when they come for their application process is 4 documents, 2 of them to provide proof of identity, 1 to provide proof that they live in Massachusetts, and the last is some kind of a proof of your status of Social Security. So if you've had a Social Security at any point number, or if you haven't, that is also not a barrier, but just be able to attest to the fact that you've had one, you present the number, or you haven't had one. And that's it. It's fairly simple, right? You have those 4 documents, you bring them with you, you make sure that you have an appointment before showing up to the RMV, because you won't get service without it. And get familiarized with what you got to bring with you. If any of those documents are not in English, like let's say your birth certificate from your country. I know I was helping a woman from Jamaica. Those birth certificates are already in English, so she didn't have to worry about getting a translation. But for our folks that are from other countries, like Spanish-speaking countries, let's say Latin America, we have a lot of people coming from El Salvador to do their application, right? You got to get that translated so that the folks at the RMV are able to follow along with what that document is, to be able to verify that it matches the rest of the documents that you're bringing with you.
Absolutely. Registrar Ogilvie, one question for you is how easy, you mentioned, and we've all had our experience at the registry. If we do what we're supposed to do, outside of renewals and things like that, then it's really not an issue if we make an appointment and things like that. But how has the registry demonstrated its commitment to making this as easy as possible? Some immigrants may have concerns about, documents going to the government, if, they're going to be put on some sort of list or whatever. How is the registry making this as what's the word I'm looking for? A easy human experience as possible?
So I'll start with preparation. So as Crystal mentioned, we have many of our documents that are needed to support the process translated into the top 15 languages in Massachusetts. Very proud and inclusive of the driver's manual that you use to study the rules of the road for the permit test. We've expanded our hours of operation, included Saturdays and 7 different sites, so that people have more easily accessible access to our services. And regarding data privacy, is that the Attorney General's office promulgated regulations on June 30th that really made clear the importance and the requirement that the registry not share data related to licenses and permits with anybody that isn't eligible. The registry's focus is really identifying the identity of the person, making a determination if you're eligible for the Massachusetts driver's license, and then issuing that. We do not share our data or records with anybody from ICE or immigration. That's not part of our business process.
And Registrar Ogilvie, on the other side, and maybe some of those that were opposing to the great work Crystal and the union and the other 269 partners were doing in this. There may be some that have some legitimate concerns in 2023 with data breaches and identity theft and things like that. On the other side, let me ask for those that may be watching, what barriers have you put in place where there won't be not so much a data breach, but, you know, falsifying of information and things like that? Unfortunately, when there are accessible moments like this, some trying to access don't always have the best intention. And so on the other side, what barriers in place so there won't be, you know, stealing someone's identity or things like that?
So, the things everybody loves and hates about the registry are the requirements. And as you and Crystal mentioned, that preparation is key. Really understanding what are the requirements for the identity documents, what are the requirements for the business process, and preparing. And just in life, people that there are some people that prepare, and there are some people that just really try to wing it and go do something. It's key to prepare to understand what are the identity documents that are needed and what's the residency document requirement to meet that. So this driver's license is eligible for residents of Massachusetts. We anticipate people from other states may try to get that driver's license in Massachusetts, maybe to avoid a suspension in their home state, or maybe they're not eligible in their home state. So the identity process is very important to us in terms of how we review the documents, how we make sure there's compliance. We require that the documents that are being presented are recent and relevant. An expired passport is not acceptable for a brand new applicant, and residency documents need to be dated within 60 days of your appointment at the Registry of Motor Vehicles. And then we go through a process before we issue the credential, the final driver's license, to ensure that you as an individual don't have another identity on our system. And if you do, then you'll hear from us so we can go through the process of determining, are you the data owner and somebody has tried to commit fraud with your identity, or are you the perpetrator? And then we'll go through the necessary process for that.
I like the transparency and blunt right there. And I just wanted to say that, you know, for those that we mentioned before that may be concerned about going to the registry or data being shared or whatever, if you take that step and then may get a call or see the number or something come up like that, don't necessarily get scared. They may be calling to make sure and protect you, to make
Correct.
sure that someone is not trying to steal your identity. And so I think it's so important to highlight efforts like these, that when people are in situations when they're transitioning, that, you know, some people unfortunately take advantage. And so we want to make
Yes.
sure that folks understand that there are barriers put into place where they're, one, perpetrators, as you said, cannot take advantage, and those that are trying to do the right thing don't get taken advantage of. Registrar Ogilvie, I have one. It's a little teeny bit off topic, but this young man is just so supportive in here, and I see his question. Just very quickly, and if you can refer us to some site or whatever, I can put the share the information here. But he just wanted to know, can you get or keep a license if you have one eye vision? I know that this young man's history, and he shared on here that he lost vision in one of his eyes. He heard that you was on and just wanted to ask that real quick. But if we have to refer to another resource, whatever, just please let us know.
Yeah, so it's really about every 5 years, people, when they renew their credential for a driver's license, need to confirm that they meet the Massachusetts requirement for 20/40 vision in your eyes. So that can be achieved with some corrective device. So
Okay.
it would all be about if that individual has recently been to an eye care provider, and if the eye care provider signs the eye certification document that indicates that individual has the ability to meet the Massachusetts vision requirement for a driver's license, and signs that document, you present it as part of your application, he'll be all set. We're happy to speak with him outside. If outside the show you want to share his telephone number, I could have a member of my staff reach out directly.
Okay, I will forward that information over. Crystal, thank you for indulging us for a couple of seconds. That's one of the things that maybe we can talk about. You mentioned, Crystal, safety and insured, and the registrar talked about the requirements and being tested. I had a little gap with my license. I've shared that on here and been honest. I got back to Boston. I was like, oh, I'm not sweating it or whatever. I'm not driving. And I remember recently taking my road test. And so there's that piece of protection. And then there's also For example, there may be folks that have health issues or whatever, and unfortunately may not qualify. And so you reference, Crystal, that this keeps us all safe on the road. And so can you just talk a little bit more about that before we get ready to wrap up? And Registrar Ogilvie, I'll come back to you for closing statements as well. But Crystal, that safety piece, can you talk about it, that it's not a negative thing? That is something that's keeping us all safe on the road.
Yeah, well, for starters, the qualifications, right, aside from the documents that you have to bring, you also have to pass a driving test, right? So you have to come in, you have to present your documents and obtain your permit. If you pass the test, in which you have to pretty much verify that you understand the rules of the road for Massachusetts, right? So there's that. And then people also have to come in and take their driving test, just like everybody else, right? So we're making sure that people are first aware of the rules of the road, that people are sufficiently prepared to be able to be on the road, and also that they'll have the opportunity to purchase insurance for their car, make sure that the car is registered. And all of that, right, creates for a better driving environment for all of us, and particularly for impacted, newly eligible folks from our immigrant community that are going to be driving with the safety that when they leave their home, they're going to be able to come back, right? Because in the past, it's been an issue in other states that people have gotten detained and haven't been able to come back home to their families. So that will no longer be an issue. People will be able to drive without fear. And everybody else who was already eligible for a driver's license is going to have that peace of mind, knowing that there are drivers on the road that are all well prepared to be there. Absolutely. And that will be able to go through the process, if there is an accident involved, to be able to go through and do the due diligence.
Absolutely. Registrar Ogilvie, why was it important for you? Because I know you were extremely busy. Why was it important for you to be here today to get this information out?
Because I think it's really important for different communities to really understand the registry is committed to this process. We don't want people to have fear. It's a matter of, do you meet the requirements or not? If you don't have what meets the requirements the day you visit, we'll give you feedback on what you need to do to be eligible. If you happen to be somebody that's not eligible, we'll have that discussion. And we want people to be aware of the facts. There are some bad actors out there that are taking advantage of people. As you referenced, we do not charge for an appointment at the registry. The only thing we charge for, if you want a hard copy of a driver's manual, it's $5. We know that there's some places that are selling the driver's manual that have unofficial translations for $40. Those are not sanctioned. We're proud to say that the driver's manual is available in print in Spanish. We're finishing the printing of the manual for hard copy in Portuguese, and 16 languages, including English, are available for free online. There is a wait for appointments. We're continuing to hire and add staff. We're adding appointments each week. Don't try to take an easy route, because there isn't an easy route. Don't pay somebody hundreds of dollars.
Registrar, can you say it again for the people in the back?
Yes. There is a wait for a permit appointment. We're well aware and tracking that. Do not pay somebody for access. That's not the right route.
Okay.
And we are adding staff and adding appointments every single week. This Saturday, we're adding 150 appointments for the locations that are open. We're monitoring that. We understand people are eager. We understand people have waited over a year for this law. And we are working closely to make sure that we're doing everything we can to reduce the wait time.
Okay. I just wanted, because I saw a little different cadence when you said that about don't do that early access thing. So Crystal, I know I was getting ready to close out, but there are people out there taking advantage of folks. Is there a buffer? Is there a barrier, a number in place that people can call if they get into some sort of trouble?
There definitely is. And I wanted to, before we get to the phone number, just share that, yeah, we've seen that there are people that are offering services charging up to $500, $600 to be able to do this process for you and get you to the front of the line. Again, that is not true. As the registrar just mentioned, it costs a total of $115 for you to do this process, and you can do it by yourself. $30 for the permit, $35 for the driving test, and $50 for the driver's license. Again, a total of $115 that is paid to the RMV and the RMV only. You don't need to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to other people to complete this process. If you are tripped up on any of this, there is a dedicated phone line. Thank you to the RMV for setting this up. And the phone number is 857-368-9362. And this is especially for the Work and Family Mobility Act. If you are newly eligible, you have questions, you don't understand the requirements, you can call that line, and it is available in many languages as well.
Did I get that straight? 857-368-0362?
Let me double check that. It's 857-368-9362.
9362. Okay, we're gonna I have to, that's a comment, so I have to figure out how to delete that because we don't want to put false information out there. I'm actually going to put it in a banner. If you could just repeat it one quick more time.
You'll create some enemies for me if those individuals get the wrong phone.
Okay. The R&B gave us the wrong. Listen, there's enough going on down there. So 857, one more time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, 857-368-9362.
9362. All right.
You got it.
Here, 9362. This is the number that you want to call if by any unfortunate chance that you feel you're being taken advantage of or something doesn't seem right about someone that's saying that they'll assist you. The only people that should be assisting you with this process are those at the RMV. Am I right, Registrar Ogilvy?
Or the Driving Family Coalition members. The advocates are doing a great job supporting people with translations, providing guidance. They're a great support system.
Absolutely.
They know the process, sometimes better than me.
And you're the registrar, so that says a lot to the wonderful work that the coalition is doing in getting this over the hill as far as taking the 20 years to build up to this, to make this happen. And also this is helping our local economy here in the state and whatnot. We know that that's a whole nother Java with Jimmy in itself, about the economy and whatnot. So I really want to appreciate and thank both of you for spending the time with us this morning. Did we miss anything? I did share. I do want to go. I did share the website in the comments. It is hyperlinked for those of you that want to click and get any information about it. And I just wanted to give you all some feedback from one of the viewers. Immigrants are one of the most vulnerable communities of people in the United States, and there's a lot of fear even at the thought of letting others know their status. How can immigrants feel safe taking advantage of this to obtain their documents? And I probably a little late with the question, but our registrar did cover that there are barriers. Our attorney general is involved with this as well. And if you know Andrea Campbell, she won't play. And so, but if you wanted to reiterate, registrar, please.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So we are not tracking who's a family mobility customer versus who is a teenager or an adult getting their driver's license in Massachusetts for the first time. All of our data is aggregated to the number of permits, the number of out-of-state conversions. We are seeing increases in demand based on numbers from last year, but we're doing it at the level of total number of permits, total number of out-of-state conversions. And based on the number of people that are coming to visit, the number of appointments and the demand that we have, we've developed a wait list. So we're really happy with that. When you pre-register for an appointment, you get to choose your top 3 locations. And then when an appointment is available at one of those, you'll get an email or a text with a link to make your appointment. But we're just using that data. It's a phone number and a name to hold your spot and give you an appointment. We don't do anything else with that information or data. There's one point I do want to make because I understand not everybody understands this. In Massachusetts, we issue 2 types of identification documents. The Real ID compliant, that's the document that has the gold or yellow star in the upper right-hand corner. That document, you have to have lawful presence. That's a federal requirement for us to be compliant. The standard driver's license is the one that allows the law allows us to issue. It's a 5-year standard driver's license, just like any other resident that's been here for 30 or 40 years in Massachusetts gets. It looks exactly the same. There is no identifying anything on that document that would differentiate a new customer from July 1st from somebody that got the standard license 5 years ago. I do want to, as a public service announcement, make sure everybody understands our compliancy with Real ID is that on the standard document, driver's license, there is text on there that says not for federal ID. That is on everybody's standard driver's license. And that's an important thing so people don't think that's a marker that we're putting on that to differentiate everybody, whether you're born in Massachusetts, just moved here, will get that with the standard driver's license.
Registrar Ogilvy, thank you. And I noticed your cadence switches when you I don't know what the word is, but you become more serious or passionate about something, and you dropped and was like, look, this is what it is. And at some point, let me know if you want to come back, because with the pandemic and whatnot, the date of the real ID, I think may have been pushed back or whatever.
Yes, May of 2025.
May of 2020. So in the next couple of years.
Yes.
If you need to come back, please let me know,
Sure,
because
would
a
love
lot
to.
of folks need to know about that, because you're not going to be able to travel. You're not going to be able to get into certain federal buildings if you don't have a real ID by that,
Or an active passport.
or an active passport. So
Yeah,
this
if
is
you
my
have a U.S. active passport, you can use that to domestically travel or get into a federal building. But if you're not somebody that travels, people seem to think you have to have a real ID. It all depends on your life and what you do. So happy to come on the show in the future to talk more about that.
Okay, thank you. Crystal, did we miss anything from your end? Is there a number? I've been showing the commercial about the website, but I'm going to bother you again. Is there another number where folks can reach out to the coalition?
So the best place to reach the coalition is on Facebook. We are actively monitoring the chat. If folks have questions, we are always on there responding. We have multilingual access on there as well. And then we also have a team, our policy team, that's made up of 3 lawyers that worked really hard to write the text of the bill alongside other lawyers, and are always at the ready to be able to help navigate, and are always in conversation with the R&D team to try to get clarity on the things that we may not be sure about. So yes, Check us out on Facebook. We are at Driving Families Forward Coalition. Yes, thank you.
Driving Families for Work?
Forward. No, you got it, Jimmy. Yeah.
Okay, Driving Families Forward. I just want to add that to be right, because like our registrar said, somebody will hit me up talking about, you put the wrong information on. I couldn't find them. And the registry gave out the wrong number. No, I put the wrong information in. But again, I really want to appreciate both of you for coming in this morning. And again, Registrar Ogilvy, anything that you want to get out to the community, just have Valentine or anybody there in the press office, let me know, and we can set that up. And also, Crystal, let me know as well if there are other things, because I know some folks, and we have to say shout out to Dalita. There are some folks that work there that I know that you all do a lot of moving around equitable quality of life. And so please keep us abreast of things going on. And did we get everything?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. I appreciate both of you. And again, keep me abreast if you guys need to come back, and we'll go from there. But we will close with this commercial. You all can go ahead and drop out, but I just want to go ahead and air the commercial again, and I'm going to go pay some bills after that. But thank both of you for being here this morning. And folks, I didn't see too many questions before I let you all go. Just one acknowledgement, and our registrar will appreciate this. I was a driving instructor for 7 years who also accompanied state troopers on road tests. If you can afford 1 or 2 driving lessons with a reputable driving school, I highly recommend it to better understand the rules of the road.
That's a great idea, certainly public safety and roadway safety. And if you're a non-confident driver, I think that's a great investment.
Okay. All right. Thank you both. We're going to close out with the commercial, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now in Massachusetts, you can get your standard driver's license regardless of immigration status. Gather all required documents: proof of identity and date of birth, proof of Massachusetts residency, and proof of Social Security status. Next, register at mass.gov/myrmv for your learner's permit. When you pass, schedule your road test at mass.gov/myrmv and prepare at mass.gov/road test. Register today.
I am so appreciative of our guests. Listen, I want to let you know today's usually my Friday, but our Congresswoman, Ayanna Pressley, her office reached out, and tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I need you all to get some folks in the room, all 12 of you that are here now. Let's triple that. Ayanna Pressley and the leadership of the National Congressional Black Caucus is coming into the room to talk about a lot of what they're doing in collaboration with the NAACP convention being here in Boston this weekend. And so please plan to join us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Also, I don't think it's not live, but in the next couple of days, we'll be sharing an air date. I am on my way out to WCBB Boston, Channel 5, to do a recording with them. So keep an eye out for that. And I think that's about it for announcements. As far as next week, I want to let you all know that my sister and friend, entrepreneur, networking, and just glam woman, Latrell Chase is going to be a part of the show next week, along with a couple of other folks that we're lining up. And so shout out again to the Davis system that stepped in and just really helping me get things together. That is it for me today. We will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. And I need to get the name of the brother that's the head of the hold on for 1 second, y'all. I'm going to get it together, I promise. Hold on. All right. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. All right. That's for next week. We'll be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. I can't find the flyer that they did. All right. Y'all have a great day. And let me check the comments before I go. Just make sure I didn't miss anything. Yes, sir. And thank you, Miss T. I will eat and drink before I get out of here. And save the date of August 30th as well. That's the next WGBH show. All right, folks, have a great day. I'm going to get out of here, and we'll see you.